I killed my husband's dreams with a single keystroke, but only after he buried mine under 6 feet of lies and stolen code. It was 2:17 a.m. in our Palo Alto loft. The kind of hour where the fog rolls in thick from the bay and muffles the screams you didn't know you were holding back. And just like that, the empire we'd built, or rather, the one I'd coded into existence line by bloody line, crumbled, not with a bang, but with the silent efficiency of a virus eating its host from the inside out. You think betrayal is a knife in the back. That's amateur hour. Real betrayal is watching the man you loved, the father of your unborn child, stand in front of a room full of venture capitalists and claim every algorithm, every sleepless night, as his own genius. "Ladies and gentlemen," he'd said, his voice smooth as the bourbon he sipped later to celebrate. "Nexus AI isn't just software, it's the future. And I'm the architect." I sat in the shadows of that conference room in San Francisco, my hand on the swell of my belly, feeling the first kick from the life we'd made together. Our daughter. His pawn. My anchor. It started 3 years earlier, back when we were just Lola and Jax Ramirez, wide-eyed transplants from the Rust Belt, chasing the California dream in a garage that smelled like solder and stale pizza. I was the coder, the one who dropped out of MIT after my mom died, trading algorithms for grief counseling that never quite stuck. Jax was the charmer, the ex-frat boy with a Wharton degree and a smile that could close deals over craft IPAs. We met at a hackathon in Austin, me hacking away at a neural network for predictive healthcare, him pitching it to judges like it was the second coming. "You're brilliant," he'd whispered in my ear that night, his breath hot against my neck as we stumbled into a motel room. We could build something real. Together. Together. That word was our gospel. I poured everything into Nexus, the facial recognition tech that could spot early signs of dementia in a smile, the backend that integrated with wearables to flag heart irregularities before they turned fatal. It was personal. My dad's Alzheimer's had stolen him piece by piece when I was 16, leaving Mom to work double shifts at the diner just to keep the lights on. I coded through the nights, fingers cramping over the keyboard while Jax handled the business side. Calls to investors, schmoozing at tech mixers. That easy laugh that made VCs open their wallets. "You're the brains, babe," he'd say, kissing my forehead. "I'm just the mouth, but mouths lie." And Jax's started lying the summer before the big pitch. It was subtle at first, a slip in an email to Sequoia Capital, where he CC'd me but forgot to correct the byline, as lead developer on Nexus. I laughed it off, blamed pregnancy brain on my end. Then came the articles in TechCrunch, ghostwritten by a PR firm he hired without telling me. Jax Ramirez, the visionary behind the next health tech revolution. No mention of me. Not even a footnote. I confronted him over takeout tie in our kitchen, the one with the exposed brick we'd splurged on with our first seed round. "Babe, it's marketing," he said, waving a chopstick like a conductor's baton. "They want a face, a story. You're the mom-to-be now, focus on that. This is for us. For her." He rubbed my belly, and damn if that didn't twist the knife deeper. For us. For her. Our daughter. Riley. We'd picked the name after my grandma, the one who'd taught me to code on an old Commodore 64. I swallowed it down, told myself it was temporary. Launch Nexus. Go public. Then set the record straight. But doubts are like bugs in the code. Ignore them, and they multiply. By fall, the betrayal metastasized. We'd moved into the loft, All sleek lines and smart home integrations. I'd even coded the lights to dim when my cortisol spiked from stress readings on my Fitbit. Jax was out more, networking at those exclusive dinners in the Hillsborough mansions where billionaires played God with other people's futures. One night, he came home reeking of scotch and something floral, not my perfume. Just a client, he slurred, collapsing onto the couch. I checked his phone while he snored, old habit from the garage days, when we'd share logins like lovers share secrets. Texts from Elena Venture. Can't wait for round 2. Your pitch was fire. Dinner Friday?
Elena Vasquez.
Partner at Andreessen Horowitz. Sharp as a shard of glass, with cheekbones that could cut deals and a reputation for betting the founders she backed. I didn't cry. I debugged. Dug into the server logs for Nexus, the ones only I had root access to. And there it was, timestamps from Jax's laptop, logged into my repo, pushing commits under his name. He'd cloned my branches, rewritten the history. Git blame lied now, pointing to him as the author of the core neural net, the one I'd built in isolation after a miscarriage scare at week 12, when he was at a conference that turned out to be Coachella with frat buddies. That's when the secret I'd buried clawed its way up. 2 years prior, pre-Nexus, Jax had been caught insider trading at his old firm. Pennies on tips from a crooked analyst, but enough to tank his career if it went public. SEC sniffing around, subpoenas incoming. He'd come to me sobbing in our shitty Echo Park apartment, the one with the leaky roof. Lola, I fucked up. For us. To get us out here, I covered for him, hacked the firm servers, planted false trails leading to a ghost account I'd fabricated, erased the evidence, took the digital fall in a way that made it look like a glitch, not a crime. He walked free. We packed for the Bay. You're my hero, he'd said then. And I believed it. Because love is blind, and loyalty is the chain that keeps you from seeing the bars.
Now,
with Riley kicking like she knew the score, I faced the mirror in our bathroom, the one with the vein-like cracks from when Jax punched it during a fight over his stress levels. My reflection stared back, dark circles under hazel eyes. Hair I'd chopped short after the pitch because long locks didn't fit the founder aesthetic he peddled. Founder. Him. I was the ghost in the machine. And ghosts don't get equity. Our prenup? Ironclad. But skewed his idea. To protect the baby. It vested everything to him if I abandoned the project. Pregnant leave counted as abandonment. The hook lodged deeper that December, when the term sheet landed. $50 million valuation. Wired to Jax Ramirez Enterprises. I was at the OBGYN, hearing Riley's heartbeat thump like war drums, when my phone buzzed with the news. He texted a screenshot. Champagne emoji and all. We did it.
babe.
Dinner at the French Laundry tonight?
We.
As if. I drove home through sheets of rain, the wipers slapping like accusations. He was waiting in the living room, suit rumpled, a bottle of Dom Perignon sweating on the coffee table. To us, he toasted, pouring flutes.
I klinket minne.
Sipped. Watched the bubbles rise like the bile in my throat. You're not in the docks, I said finally, voice flat as the bay at low tide. His smile faltered. Just a flicker. What docks? The incorporation. The IP assignment. It's all you.
How?
Jax? We filed together. He set his glass down, leaned forward, elbows on knees, the posture he used to close deals. Lola.
Listen.
The investors. They wanted stability. A single point of contact. You're due in 3 months. What if something happens? This way, it's clean. We cash out. You stay home with Riley. I run the show. It's temporary. Temporary. Like his fidelity. Apparently. I pulled up the Elena text on my phone. Slid it across the table. His face drained of color. Then flushed red. It's nothing.
Networking.
You know how this town works. This town eats its young.
Jax.
And you're feeding them me. We argued until the neighbors banged on the wall, him gaslighting, me unraveling. He stormed out, slamming the door that echoed like a guillotine. I sat there, hand on my belly, feeling Riley shift as if to say,
Mom.
fix this. But fixes cost. And mine would come at a price neither of us could afford. That night, alone with the hum of the servers in the corner, our prototype rack, purring like a contented beast, I opened my laptop. Root access. The backdoor I'd left for myself. A failsafe no one knew about. Not even Jax. I stared at the blank terminal, cursor blinking like an accusation. Revenge wasn't a word I knew then. It was survival.
Code.
One line to rewrite the narrative. But first, I needed proof. Real proof. Not just logs. I dove into the cloud backups, the ones synced to his phone. Photos, him and Elena, tangled in sheets at the Fairmont, time-stamped during a late meeting. Emails, him pitching my code as his to her firm, promising full control post-close. And deeper, an encrypted folder labeled contingency, the original SEC files. He'd kept them, the bastard. Screenshots of trades.
Wire transfers.
My hack had saved him, but he'd hoarded the evidence like a trophy. Insurance, in case I ever turned. I copied it all to a thumb drive, hid it in the nursery's changing table, the one we'd assembled together, laughing over IKEA instructions. Dawn broke, gray and unforgiving, as I powered down. Jax returned at noon, hungover and contrite, flowers in hand.
I'm sorry. Lo.
Let's talk to a lawyer. Fix it. Fix it. As if lawyers could debug a marriage. I nodded, played the part, but inside, the virus was writing itself. Nexus wasn't just health tech. It was vulnerable, interconnected APIs, third-party integrations ripe for exploit. A single injection, and it could cascade, falsify data, trigger false positives, alert regulators to anomalies in the codebase. Not destruction, but doubt. Enough to tank the IPO, unravel the lies. Weeks blurred into a tense détente. Holiday parties where I smiled through gritted teeth, toasting our success while Elena shot me pitying glances across crystal glasses. New Year's Eve. We rang in 2026 on the balcony. Fireworks exploding over the bay like false promises. This year, everything changes, Jax murmured, arm around me. Riley kicked an agreement or warning. I wondered if she could sense the fracture lines. By February, the swell of my belly matched the bloat of our bank accounts, pre-IPO shares vesting, bonuses hitting. Jax bought a Tesla, talked expansion to New York. I coded in secret, late nights when he crashed early from stress. The line was simple, a Trojan in the auth module, keyed to his fingerprint login. It would activate on launch day, April 15th, tax day. Ironic as hell, rewriting patient data to flag systemic biases. Ethical red flags that would scream fraud to any auditor. Controversial? Hell yes. It'd expose the theft. But also risk lives. False alerts could delay real treatments. No one wins clean in revenge. Jax noticed my distance. Chalked it to hormones. You're glowing, babe, he'd say. Oblivious. But Elena? She cornered me at a gala in the city. Her red dress like spilled wine.
He's all in on you now.
Whatever you're thinking. Don't. This industry's small. Burns hot. Scars deep. I smiled. Sipped my sparkling water. Scars build character. Elena. Ask any founder. She laughed. But her eyes were wary. Good. Let them whisper. Let the town buzz. I was Lola Ramirez. Ghost no more. And on April 15th, the world would see the code I'd written, not just for health, but for reckoning. As launch approached, rehearsals ran long. Jack's front and center. Me in the wings. Tweaking demos. One night, post-run-through, he pulled me into a supply closet, dusty with old cables, lit by a flickering exit sign. I love you, he said, pressing me against the wall, hands roaming like he owned every inch. I let him, body responding despite the rage, because betrayal's cruelest cut is the lingering want. We're unstoppable, he whispered, zipping up. Unstoppable. Until the first crack. It came via an anonymous tip to the SFA from a burner account. The old files. Attached. Jax's phone blew up during breakfast, agents en route for a chat. He stared at me across the avocado toast. Fork midway to mouth. What the fuck is this? Karma, I said softly, pushing back my chair. Riley was due any day. Hospital bag by the door. You built nothing.
Jax.
You stole it.
Me.
Us. His face twisted, shock to fury in a blink. You bitch. After everything, I did this for you. For her. He lunged, but I was faster, grabbing the nursery monitor like a shield. Security cams, I'd looped them earlier, would show nothing but a lover's quarrel. Cops came, not agents. Domestic disturbance call from the neighbor. Jax, cuffed and raging, as paramedics checked me over.
She's fine, they said.
Stress-induced, but baby's good. He glared from the squad car, rain mixing with tears on his cheeks. You'll regret this. Lola. Regret? I'd swallowed his sins for years.
Now.
The empire teetered, and I held the kill switch. Labor hit like a server crash, sudden, unrelenting. Code red at 3 a.m. On the Ides of March. Jax was in county lockup, bail denied pending the SEC probe, his lawyer spinning tales of marital discord to buy time.
I drog meg selv to Stanford.
One hand on the wheel, the other cradling the thumb drive like a talisman. Contractions gripped like deadlines missed. Each wave a reminder. Build. Break. Rebuild. Nurses buzzed around me in the sterile glow of tree, hooking up monitors that beeped in sync with Riley's defiant heartbeat. Strong girl, the midwife said, her voice a calm anchor in the storm. I wanted to laugh. Strong like her mother, who'd coded through worse. Riley emerged at dawn, red-faced and furious, her cry slicing the air like a compiler error. 10 pounds even. hazel eyes like mine, a tuft of dark hair that curled at the ends. I held her close, skin to skin, the world narrowing to that perfect weight against my chest. "We're okay," I whispered, tears hot on my cheeks. "Just you and me now. No empire. No Jax, just code and consequence." The hospital room became my war room. Laptop on the tray table, for dripping saline like fuel for the fight. News alerts pinged. Nexus AI under scrutiny. Insider trading allegations rock pre-IPO darling. Jax's face plastered everywhere. That charmer's grin, now a mask of deceit. Elena's firm pulled funding. A press release citing due diligence concerns. The valley turned on him overnight. Vultures circling the carcass he'd claimed as his. But they came for me too. Reporters at the maternity ward doors. Mics thrust like spears. MS. Ramirez. Did you know about the trades? Is the betrayal story true? Did Jax steal your work? I stonewalled. Lawyered up with a shark from Menlo Park who specialized in tech divorces. No comment, she'd snap, her heels clicking like metronomes.
Inside.
I seethed. Betrayal? It was theft on a biblical scale. He'd taken my code, my credit, my future, and nearly my daughter, with the stress that sent me into early labor. Discharge day. Social services hovered, protocol for a high-profile domestic. A caseworker with kind eyes and a clipboard interviewed me, Riley nursing at my breast. "You have support?" she asked. I nodded to the empty chair. Families flying in from Ohio.
Lie.
Mom was gone. Dad a shadow in a nursing home. My support was silicon and spite. Back in the loft. It reeked of abandonment. Half-packed boxes from Jax's business trips, takeout containers fossilized on the counter. I fortified, changed locks, looped cams to a private server. Hired a PI to tail whatever moves Jax made post-bail. Riley slept in a bassinet hacked with lullabies synced to her vitals, my first post-birth code. A tiny rebellion. Nights were the worst. Her cries echoing the void he'd left. I'd rock her, staring at the city lights, plotting the cascade. Launch was 6 weeks out, rescheduled to May 1st, Walpurgis night. Fitting for a witch hunt. The board, a cabal of suits who'd bought Jax's pitch hook,
line,
and sinker, demanded my presence. Interim CEO, they called it, as if I were a placeholder. Video call from the conference room. Their faces pixelated avatars of greed. Lola, we need stability. Prove you're the visionary Jax said you were. Prove it. As if I hadn't. I demoed the core net, walking them through the layers I'd layered in blood and bandwidth. Questions flew. Ethics. Scalability. The elephant in the room, Jax. He's out of the picture, I said coolly. Focus on the product. They bought it.
For now.
But whispers rippled. She's the real brain. And proven. Volatile. Volatile. Code word for woman scorned. Elena reached out via LinkedIn DM. Olive branch emoji and all. Coffee? We need to talk. For Nexus. I met her at a cafe in Palo Alto. Riley in a carrier against my chest. The scent of oat milk lattes cloying. She looked wrecked, hair frizzed, no red dress glamour. I didn't know, she started, stirring her cup. About the code. Or you. Bullshit, I said, voice low for Riley's sake. You betted the founder. Due diligence includes pillow talk. Her laugh was bitter.
Touché.
But Jax. He flipped on me too. Promised equity kickbacks, then ghosted when the SEC hit. I'm exposed. My partners think I greenlit a fraud. She leaned in, eyes pleading. Help me salvage this. I'll back you. Full control. Your name on everything. Tempting. Power. Redemption. A seat at the table I'd built. But trust is a firewall once breached. What's the catch? Expose the hack. The one that covered his trades. Anonymously. Clean slate for all. My blood iced. She knew.
How?
Jax. Spilling in a drunken confessional? Or her own digging? You think I'd tank my own career for yours? Not tank. Redirect. Blame a third party, some Eastern European ghost. We both walk. Nexus launches under you. Her hand on mine. Manicured nails like talons. Sisters in silicon. Lola. Don't let him win. I pulled away. Riley stirring. Sisters? She'd been the other woman. The enabler. But her desperation mirrored mine, flawed.
Fierce.
I left without answering. The proposition gnawing like bad ram. Home. I cracked the drive. Cross-referenced with Elena's angle. The hack, it wasn't clean. Traces led back to my IP. Masked but not invisible. Jax had known. Hoarded it as leverage. If the SEC dug, I'd fall with him.
Complicity.
Aiding and abetting. Prison time. Riley in foster care. The weight crushed. Heavier than any server rack. That's when the antagonist in me awoke fully, not Jax. But the system. The Valley's bro code. Where women code, but men claim. Elena was an ally. She was opportunist. Flipping like Jax to save her skin. I needed leverage of my own. Deep dive into Nexus's underbelly, the beta tests, anonymized data from clinics across the country. Patterns emerged, flaws Jax had ignored, cost-cutting corners that biased against low-income patients. Black and brown faces misread. Alerts dismissed as noise. My code. Twisted by his optimizations. The virus evolved. Not just doubt, but truth. I'd trigger a full audit on launch, flooding regulators with scrubbed data dumps, irrefutable proof of inequities, tied to Jax's commits. Controversial? Absolutely. It'd kill the IPO, but expose the rot. Lives saved in the long run. Maybe. Or lawsuits that buried us all. Gray area. Where right and wrong blurred like fog on the 101. Jax's trial loomed, prelim hearing in April. I testified. Voice steady under fluorescent glare. He manipulated the repo. Stole my work. Exhibits, Git logs, emails, the works. His lawyer painted me as hysteric. Scorned wife seeking custody via carnage. MS. Ramirez. Isn't it true you tampered with evidence in a prior matter? Elena's leak. Timed perfectly. The judge sustained objection. But the damage seeped, jurors whispering. Reporters tweeting. Post-hearing, Jax cornered me in the courthouse hall. Bail granted on appeal. His eyes wild. You think this ends it? I know the back door. Lola. The one you think is secret. Shut it down. Or I flip the switch myself. Riley's ours. Don't make me fight dirty.
Ours.
He hadn't held her once. Sent a card from lockup with a check he knew bounced. Fight dirty? He'd invented the game. Touch it, and you're done, I hissed. security muscle between us. Not just Nexus. Everything. He smirked, that old charm cracking through. Everything? Like what? Your little revenge script? I saw the commits.
Babe.
From the nursery Wi-Fi. My stomach dropped. He'd monitored us. Even then. Paranoia or prescience. Nights after. I hardened the code, quantum encrypted. Multi-factor beyond his reach. Riley colicked. Her wail's a soundtrack to my frenzy. Formula bottles warmed by voice command. Crib cam hacked to white noise. Elena called again. Voicemail pleading. He's turning state's evidence. Blaming you for the hack. We need a deal. Flipping again. Selling me out to save her fund. May 1st dawn crisp. Launch day. The auditorium in Mountain View thrummed press. Partners. Potential users in white coats from Mayo to Mass General. I took the stage in a black sheath. Riley with a sitter backstage. My talisman drive in my clutch. Nexus isn't perfect, I began. Voice amplified. Steady. But it's honest.
And today,
we face the truth. Slides flipped. Data visualizations. The biases laid bare. Gasps rippled. These are the shadows we cast, I said. And we're fixing them. Starting now. Behind the scenes, the Trojan whispered to life. Alerts pinging FDA inboxes. SEC dashboards lighting up with ethical flags. Not destruction. Disclosure. Chaos erupted. Phones buzzed. Suits fleeing to calls. Elena bolted from the front row. Her face ashen. I stepped off stage to cheers and jeers, half the crowd hailing the whistleblower, half decrying the saboteur. Hero or harpy, a reporter shouted. Mic in my face.
both.
I thought. Neither. Jax watched from the shadows. Live streamed from his lawyer's office. His text hit as sirens wailed outside. Regulators inbound. You broke us. But I broke you first. Broke?
No.
Rewritten. The fallout hit like a DDoS attack, relentless, overwhelming. Every port firewalled but cracking. By noon on launch day, Nexus's servers were quarantined. The app yanked from beta trials. Clinics across the Midwest halted integrations. Patients' wearables going dark mid-scan. Irresponsible, the headline screamed from Wired to the Wall Street Journal. Founder's ex-wife torpedoes $500 million deal in personal vendetta. Personal? It was principal, code as confession. Betrayal's bill coming due. I hunkered in a safe house Airbnb in Oakland, far from the valley's viper pit. Riley fussed in her portable crib, the hum of the ancient AC drowning out my burner phone's ring. It was my lawyer. Voice clipped. SEC's issuing a subpoena.
For the hack.
Elena's testimony corroborates, says you confessed over coffee. Perjury. I snapped, pacing the threadbare carpet. She twisted it. Doesn't matter. Optics are shit. Board wants your head, resignation or lawsuit.
Pause.
Then softer. Custody battle too. Jax's team petitioned emergency, citing unstable environment. Unstable. The word clawed. I'd coded a nursery that predicted her cries. Synced feeds to her sleep cycles. Unstable was Jax. Trading secrets like stocks. Flipping loyalties like pancakes. But court saw suits, not servers. I hung up, sank to the floor beside Riley, her tiny fist clutching my finger. Mama's fighting, I murmured. For you. The antagonist sharpened. Not just Jax, but Elena, the flipper extraordinaire. I traced her moves via dark web forums. PI reports she'd cut a deal with the feds, trading my confession for immunity on her own kickback schemes. Memos surfaced, buried in discovery, her emails pushing Jax to streamline attribution pre-pitch. Accomplice. Not innocent. But proof? Locked in servers I couldn't touch without tripping alarms.
I needed an ally.
Enter Marcus Hale, old MIT prof turned whistleblower advocate. We'd connected post-testimony. He emailed from aid, onion address, offering pro bono. Met in a dive bar in Berkeley, fog thick as the anonymity we craved. Grizzled beard, glasses perpetually slipping. He nursed a root beer. You're not the villain here, Lola. But revenge code? That's a double-edged sword. Exposes truth, but invites the mob. Mob, I echoed, bouncing Riley on my knee. She gummed a teething ring, oblivious. The industry. Regulators. They'll crucify you to save face. But if we pivot, frame it as ethical audit, not sabotage, you flip the narrative.
Pivot.
Like Jax's lies. But Marcus had cred. He'd tanked a pharma giant in the opioid scandals. Walked free as a hero. What's the play? Public mea culpa. Own the Trojan, but tie it to the biases. Rally users' patience, not VCs. Grassroots pressure. And dig on Elena, her flips are her fracture. We schemed through the night. Riley dozing in a booth sling. By dawn, I had a manifesto blog post, viral thread on X. Code snippets open-sourced with annotations crediting
Me.
The ghost in the Nexus, how one woman's code built an empire. And why it almost killed it.
Raw.
Unfiltered. Nights in the garage. Jax's theft. The hack that saved him. Controversial? Quotes from our fights. Blurred texts with Elena. No blood, but bruises laid bare. It dropped at midnight, amplified by Marcus's network. Retweets snowballed, ghost in the code trending. From nurse influencers to celeb docs. This is Me Too for tech, one viral post read. Backlash 2, trolls calling me hysterical harpy, doxing attempts on Riley's pics scrubbed fast. Jax's camp fired back, presser painting me as unstable. The hack as cyberterrorism. She's endangering lives for spite, he said. Voice cracking on CNN. Eyes red-rimmed. Crocodile tears. But they sold. Elena struck next, op-ed in Forbes, the real cost of Valley betrayals, when personal becomes perilous. Subtle shade. My obsession derailing innovation. But footnotes?
Sloppy.
Links to her own memos. Exposed by my thread. She flipped again. Deleting tweets. Radio silent. Custody hearing loomed end of May. Family court in Santa Clara. I prepped like a demo. Character witnesses, Marcus. A beta tester mom whose kid's alert saved a seizure. Psych eval glowing, resilient, not reactive. Jax arrived polished.
Suit sharp.
Elena on his arm as support. She avoided my gaze. But her hand on his elbow screamed alliance reformed. Judge was a no-nonsense Latina. Eyes sharp behind bifocals. This isn't about Empire. MS. Ramirez. It's about the child.
Testimony dragged, Jax's charme offensive.
My measured truths. Then the bombshell his PI testified. Grainy footage of me at the safe house. Laptop glowing. Feverishly typing post-drop. Obsessive behavior. the lawyer intoned. Objection overruled. My heart hammered. Unstable. Marcus cross-examined. Pulling server logs, Jax's access attempts on the nursery cam, timestamps matching his visits. Stalker. Not protector. The tide turned. Subtle, judge's pen tapping. Questions probing his trade's impact on family stability. Recess hit like a buffer overflow. In the hall, Jax cornered me. Elena hovering. Give it up.
Lo.
Sign the papers, joint custody. Drop the code. We co-parent. Move on. Move on. I laughed. Low and lethal. You moved on first. With her. Nod to Elena, who flushed crimson. It's business, she hissed. You torched it all. You lit the match. Riley's cry from the sitter room cut through my cue. I walked away, back straight, the weight of eyes like debuggers on my spine. Verdict, next morning. Sole custody to me. Supervised visits for him, pending therapy. Priorities, the judge said, are people, not profits. Jax's face crumpled on the steps. Paparazzi flashing. Elena vanished into a black SUV. Deal flipped to dust. But victory's hollow in the gray. Nexus? Salvaged. Sort of. Marcus brokered a non-profit pivot. Open source core. Funded by grants. No VCs. I coded from a co-working space in the mission. Riley in a playpen amid the chaos. Users trickled back. Stories pouring in. Your alert caught my arrhythmia. Redemption. Bite by bite. Jax cleaned up. Sort of. Plea deal, community service, restitution. He showed for visits. Awkward at first. Reading Goodnight Moon with mechanical precision. I'm trying, he'd say. Eyes on Riley. Not me. Trying. Like me. Swallowing the shards. Elena's fall was quieter, demoted at her firm. Whispers of a memoir deal. She DM'd once. Respect. But next time, burn cleaner.
Blocked.
Summer sweltered. Riley's first marking time. Crawl across the loft rug. Giggle at my tickles. I dated the code. Not men. A flame with a barista fizzled over my intensity. Friends urged therapy, I did. Unpacking the hack's ghost. Was it worth it? My shrink asked. Notepad balanced on knee. Worth, I echoed. It rewrote us. Messy, but mine. Climax brewed in September. Nexus's relaunch gala small. Invite only. At the Computer History Museum.
Idee invita Jax.
Olive branch or trap. He came solo. Suit ill-fitting. Hair graying at temples. Toasts rang. Marcus on ethics. A patient on second chances. My turn. Podium under the hulking old servers. Relics of empires past. Nexus was born of loss. I began. Voice steady. My father's fade. A mother's fight. Stolen.
Yes.
But reclaimed. Applause swelled.
Genuine.
Jax clapped from the back. Eyes unreadable. After. By the ENIAC exhibit. He approached. Scotch in hand. Proud of you.
Lo.
Really?
Pause.
Then, the drive, you still have it? The talisman. Tucked in my safe. Why? Closure. Burn it. For Riley. Burn it. Erase the past. His sins. My complicity.
Tempting.
But secrets buried fester. No, I said. It's evidence. Of us. His laugh was hollow. Always the coder. Black and white. Gray.
Jax.
Like everything. He left with a nod. The door hissing shut like a commit pushed. That night, alone with Riley's breath soft in the monitor,
I opened the drive.
files stared back. Trades. Texts. The hack's elegant deceit. One more line of code. Upload to a public ledger. Blockchain immutable. Not revenge. Revelation. Let the world debate. Villain or visionary. Accomplice or avenger. Dawn broke as it uploaded. The bay a mirror of steel. Riley stirred. Hungry for milk. For morning. I lifted her. World remade in her eyes. Empire?
Shattered.
But, from the shards, something truer rose. October's chill seeped into the bay like doubt after disclosure, persistent, bone deep. Nexus hummed in its non-profit skin. Integrations live in underserved clinics from Compton to the Bronx. Grants flowed. Not greed-fueled, but gratitude-garnished, a foundation named for a kid whose arrhythmia my code caught. Lola's legacy, they called it. I cringed at first. Legacy implies end. And mine was mid-loop, iterating. Riley's first word? Mama.
Second?
Code. Okay. Exaggeration. She babbled at my keyboard. But it felt prophetic. Jax's visits steadied into routine. Saturday mornings at the park. Supervised by a neutral nanny with a clipboard thicker than his excuses. He'd push Riley on swings. Her laughter a bridge neither of us crossed. She's got your fire, he'd say, handing her back with a toy truck, grease-stained from his new gig, mechanic at a startup garage, wrenching EVs instead of deals. Humble pie, valley style. Miss this, he'd ask once, nodding at the skyline. Miss what? The lies. Harsh, but healing's jagged. Therapy unpacked it, betrayal as grief. Stages cycled like agile sprints. Denial in the garage days. Anger in the virus. Bargaining with Elena's deals. Depression in the safe house fog. Acceptance? Elusive. A beta feature. Elena resurfaced via a podcast invite, disrupted. Women who broke the bro code. Marcus forwarded it. Eyebrow emoji attached. Your call. She's pitching redemption arc. I tuned in live stream. Riley napping on my lap. Elena's voice. Polished anew. I flipped because I was scared. Like Lola. But her courage? It forced my mirror moment.
Gist, mea culpa.
Light on details. Heavy on hashtags. Listeners lapped it, sisters rising, but comments seethed flip-flop. Where's the apology? I ghosted the invite. Mirrors crack both ways. Thanksgiving loomed. First without family ghosts. I flew to Ohio. Riley bundled against the Midwest bite. Dad's facility smelled of antiseptic and apple pie, holidays mandatory. He stared through me, eyes cloudy as the code I'd debugged for him once. Mapping memories lost. Lola, he murmured.
A spark.
I nodded. Throat tight. Riley on his knee cooing. Tell her about the farm, I said. Stories tumbled. Tractors. Thunderstorms. A girl with pigtails coding lightning bugs on graph paper. For a moment, empire faded. It was just us. Unbroken. Back in the bay. Winter rains lashed like recriminations. Nexus hit a snag. Lawsuit from a beta user. False positive delaying chemo. Blame pinned on my audit. Discovery dredged the old files, the hack. Elena's memos. Jax's trades. All of it. My lawyer spun. Whistleblower protections. But the plaintiff's attorney, a bulldog from Oakland, smelled blood. You covered a felony. MS. Ramirez. Complicity voids heroism. Court dates stacked like pull requests. Jax testified for the defense, my side. Shockingly. She saved my ass back then, he admitted under oath. Voice rough. Stupid kid mistake. But Lola? She's clean. The real thief's me. Jurors shifted. A woman in the back nodding. Elena? Subpoenaed. She lawyered up, pleading the fifth on kickbacks. Flipped to self-preservation. Again. Verdict. Settlement. No admission. Nexus paid out. But the press spun silver lining. Tech Titan takes accountability. My name trended. Not harpy, but pioneer. Offers trickled. Ted Slott. Book deal from a Penguin Scout. Raw and real, the email read. I drafted a chapter. Words flowing like uncompiled code. The garage. The theft. The keystroke that shattered. Christmas Eve. Jax showed unannounced. Takeout tamales from our old Echo Park spot steaming in a cooler. Riley squealed at the door. Arms out. Daddy. First time she'd said it clear. He scooped her, eyes glistening. Truce, he asked, setting the table, mismatched plates. Candles flickering. Truce. We ate in fits. Stories skirting scars, his shop tales. My Grant wins. Riley smeared salsa. Oblivious oracle. Why now? I asked finally. Wine warming my veins. Therapy, he said, shrugging. Group for white-collar fuck-ups. Turns out, I'm not unique. Laugh. Self-deprecating. Missed you. Both of you. Missed. Past tense. Weaponized. I let it hang. Cleared plates instead. Bedtime routine. Bath. Books. Her tucked with a stuffed octopus I'd sewn. Tentacles for ports. Body for server. Jax lingered in the hall. The drive, he said. You uploaded it? Nod. Public record now. No more ghosts. His smile ghosted. Good. Clean break. Clean? Scars itch eternal. New Year dawned with a twist. The kind that splits opinions like a fork in the road. Elena's memoir dropped January 2nd, flipped, a venture capital confession. Bestseller bait. Ghosted glossy. Chapters on Jax, torrid affair. His genius facade. On me, Lola Ramirez, the unsung architect whose rage rewrote our rules. I envied her code, feared her fire. Admiration or appropriation? Claiming my story as her arc? Reviews polarized, empowering versus opportunistic grift. X erupted, flipped or flopped. Debates raging. Marcus called. Sue for defamation? I laughed. No. Let it burn. Fuel for my own book. Shattered. The line that broke the empire. Spring bloomed. Riley toddling through the loft. Her steps sinking to my typing. Nexus scaled partnerships with tribal health orgs. Algorithms attuned to cultural contexts. I spoke at conferences, not as victim but vector. Betrayal builds better code. Test your commits. Trust your gut. Jax dated a teacher. Weekends shared now. Unsupervised. Trust earned in inches. Co-parenting, he texted. Pics of Riley finger painting. Progress. Pixel by pixel. The final twist hit in June. Riley's first birthday. Invite list small, Marcus. The barista, rekindled, cautious. Dad via video, a good day. He waved at cake. Jax arrived early. Gift in hand, a coding kit for toddlers. Blocks that snapped into circuits. For her inner hacker. We sang. Off-key. Frosting smeared like victory. Then his phone buzzed, a call he took in the kitchen. Voice low. Eavesdropped. Yeah? Elena. It's done. Hung up. Face neutral.
Done.
I echoed. Cake knife mid-slice.
He sighed.
Deflating. Her book deal included addendums. She bought the old SEC files from a dark web auction. Anonymized.
But
She pieced it. Offered a settlement. Silence on the complicity. In exchange for my non-compete lift. I took it.
took it.
Flipped again. Selling shadows for freedom. Rage flickered, old virus. Dormant. But Riley clapped, demanding cake. Her joy of firewall. And you? I asked. Plating slices. Told her no. Files go public, full truth. My mess. My mend. His eyes met mine. Stripped. Your hack saved me once. Time I saved myself.
Truth.
The word hung. Debatable. Absolution or abdication. He left post-party. Hug awkward but real. Elena's book tanked amid leaks, her memos. Unredacted. Career cratered. She vanished to Austin. Consulting for startups wary of her wake. Summer solstice. I stood on the balcony. Riley asleep inside. City lights a constellation of code. The empire is shattered.
Yes.
But from shards a non-profit thriving. A daughter defining. A Miam hosted. Jax texted. Happy birthday to the boss. Riley's. But mine too. Rebirth in binary. Was it happy? Tragic? Readers, hell. You decide. I pressed enter on my manuscript. Sent. The line that shattered? It built too. Messier. Meaner. Magnificently mine. No one wins clean. But in the gray, we debug. We run.